The Digital Photography Cafe show is brought to you by Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool for your camera, and by Mosaic, your Lightroom photos automatically on every device and backed up, and by Shootproof, the easy way to proof and sell your photos online.
Welcome to the Digital Photography Cafe show. Join hosts Trevor Curran and Joseph Christina as they chat about the art and business of photography.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. This is episode 102. I'm Joseph Christina here with my co-host Trevor Curran. On last week's episode, we turned your iPad into a computer monitor, discussed photography website solutions, looked at bracketing depth of field, and selected winners for our 100th episode giveaway. If you haven't watched last week's show, I encourage you to do so. You can find it at our website, digitalphotographycafe.com, in iTunes, listen with the popular Stitcher, TuneIn, and Xbox music apps, or watch in HD on TiVo.
So Joe, we're back. How you doing, my friend?
We are back.
Yes, we are.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Going a little crazy.
Excellent.
A little crazy. Got a lot of work going on, which is a good thing. I'm not complaining, but
that is a good.
It's been several late nights. I felt like I was back in my college days doing these 2-3 o'clock in the morning deals.
I know. That's the way we are here too. And whenever we get these projects, if it's a big project, sometimes it's the 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Yep. Editing jobs or whatever, and it gets to be a little bit nuts.
It does. It's one of those rain or shine things, feast or famine,
Exactly. Feast or famine.
It's just when people need it, they need it, and you just got to do it. It's all part of customer service.
Yep. That's it. That's exactly right. So we have a pretty good show this week. Have a lot of interesting topics, so we need to kind of delve right in. So first of all, we talked about Kickstarter in the past, and we're always kind of interested in new photography stuff that's coming out that people are working on, and kind of staying in the know and the thick of things, as they say. And one thing came through that looked really, really neat on the photography side, and it's called the Rocket Traveler Slider. Right?
Yeah, this thing is really cool. If you're into shooting video, DSLR video, or maybe you're using, a Blackmagic cinema cam or something, high-end type of camera. This thing is really cool. It does dolly shots. It's a slider.
Right.
So you mount your camera to it. You can slide it for this nice, smooth side motion actions and stuff. It's really, really cool. Right. So what these guys did is they came out with a portable travel slider. It comes with the almost like a little mini skateboard, kind of with concave wheels on it, and it comes with the bracketry to hold the pipes, to hold the slides themselves, and they have little legs on them, so you could set them on the ground, or they have tripod mounts, so you can actually mount them onto a tripod and set the height at whatever you need. They're really neat. They're all made out of billet aluminum, and but the beauty is you can actually use the metal piping, like the electrical conduit that you get at Lowe's or Home Depot, to use as the slides.
Yeah, that's really, really important, because I know when we do jobs and we're bringing our sliders, probably the slider kit that we have, all together with the aluminum, with the piping and everything, it weighs probably about 50 pounds. That's with the, the tripod, the stands, the length of piping, the whole 9 yards. It's heavy. This billet aluminum weighs basically nothing. And, so you can go, it's a great thought. I really like it. So the whole gist of it is you take this, it comes in a small box. You go onto a shoot. Let's say out of town, you go to the local hardware location and you buy a piece of pipe. Yep. Piping costs probably $6 for, I don't know, let's say 12 feet. And then you have it cut to whatever size you need, and you use it. And then when you're done, it was $6. You leave it there. You chuck it.
Take it to the recycling
center. That's the end of it. And then you take your little bag with your slider stuff with you, and that's the end of it. I love it. I tell you one thing, the idea is great. The product looks fantastic. And even more important to me, which, as an artist, I love the Kickstarter video that they did. We'll set up like a link so you can go and watch it. but they did a fabulous job on this Kickstarter. Basically ad spot or plea for money, as Kickstarter, as they always do.
Yeah.
Absolutely unbelievable. If you like the product, you don't like the product, go watch this cinematic.
It really is. I mean, the creator is a professional videographer. So they put together a phenomenal.
It definitely comes across that way.
Absolutely. They put together a phenomenal video for this project. It looks really cool, and like you said, it is very light. Yeah. The base kit itself, the dolly part, the end brackets with the feet that fold in, that only weighs 3.5 pounds, and it'll support up to 45 pounds. That's a pretty big rig. That's a lot of weight. That's a lot of glass. That's a lot of camera body. So that's really cool. Sure. They also are making 6-foot carbon fiber slides, rails,
right?
But they compact. They come apart into 2-foot sections.
They come together, right?
So that's really cool too. So if you're in, if you want travel slides and 6-foot length is good enough for you, you can actually get this kit, break it down, and the biggest part of it is 2 feet, 24 inches. It's great.
Yeah, and we know carbon fiber just weighs nothing. It's expensive. This whole thing is expensive. I mean, billet aluminum, carbon fiber, but you're talking about high end materials. It's not,
but it's going to last.
So you're going to pay for it. But I mean, if you're doing like what we do, sometimes we'll do 30-second ad spots, commercials, 15-second, whatever it is. You're doing any type of slide work, dolly work. This is just invaluable. This is a major tool. This is probably one of the biggest tools that you can get for doing that type of work. It's awesome.
I mean, it's $425.
Definitely take a look.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And we'll definitely put a link in. It's called the Rocket.
Yeah. $425. As of last look, when I was on there, they had 118 backers, and they had raised $70,689. So, I mean, that's some nice production money.
Yeah, and I think their original pledge their goal was like 25,000. So they have exceeded that more than threefold, almost, and that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
More power to them.
Power to them. That's right.
Yeah. Absolutely. So the next thing we kind of got to get into would be listener question, right? We get a lot of these all the time, and we try to answer them in a timely manner as they come through. But we can only select so many, so we try to get something that would hopefully be interested by everyone.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. So this one came in on Twitter. So we love Twitter. Send your messages on Twitter. That's great. We get them.
Absolutely.
From Giorgio Mora. And he said, I'd like to switch from Canon to Nikon. The D800 might be an idea for reportage and football? Yes.
So, okay, so looking at this could be, a serious rabbit hole to go down.
And a one better than the other type of conversation. Yeah, it can get all kinds of crazy.
It can get extremely deep, but, kind of looking at it with like a broad paintbrush instead of really getting in there to the fine points. Let's just look at it as a whole. Going from Canon to Nikon, obviously he's doing event coverage, reporting, as well as football. As soon as I hear anything that says something about sports, I immediately say, well, Nikon is pretty good, because it definitely has done. Let's say they've done their homework when it comes to autofocus,
right? The
number of autofocus spots, as well as the quickness of the autofocus. I think the autofocusing system on the Nikon is better. I am a Canon Pro for many, many years, but I do think that Nikon has got it together when it comes to the focusing system. Yep. So, but that's more of, that's like which to pick.
Sure, there are plenty professional sports photographers out there shooting Nikon or Canon. So obviously they work well for that too.
Yeah, the easiest way, Trevor, to see that is when you're watching football and you look into the stands, the bottom, let's say the pit, where the guys are shooting, the sports photographers are shooting. Yep. The black lenses are Nikon,
and all those big, huge white lenses. Yep, they're all Canon.
Those are all Canon, and there's a good equal portions of the.
There are so. I mean, the D800 is a great camera if that's what you're looking for. My thought would be, how invested are you in Canon? Do you already have a lot of glass? And if you have a lot of high-end professional glass, you're probably not going to make the money back selling it and making that switch over. If you're more of a prosumer or consumer level body, you really haven't made that much of an investment into glass, then, if you think Nikon is going to be better for you, the D800 is a fantastic camera. We've talked about that in the past. I would certainly recommend that. But I think you have to look at your overall investment, right? I mean, you've got a lot of Canon glass.
Okay, so as far as the glass to body, the lenses, the glass hold up value much, much better than a body.
Yes.
Whatever you pay for a body in 2-3 years, you might as well just chuck it. I mean,
you're not going to get
you're going to get probably, 20% of what you paid for it. That's just the way it is. I mean, I have a D1 sitting over there. That body originally is about $7,000 and it shoots, I think it was 4.3 megapixels or something.
Yeah. You get about $100 for that.
You're looking at thousands and thousands, now it's $100. Anyway, so the body is where you're going to lose all your money.
Yeah.
Your lenses, when you sell your lenses, you're going to lose a couple $100, but not a lot. It's not going to be the big,
you're going to lose depreciation,
deal breaker.
Sure, but they're still holding their value because good glass is good glass. As long as it's functioning properly, it still has really good value to it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, a D800 is a full frame. So, thumbs up to you, fellow full frame shooter. I love full frame as much as possible. I like to shoot medium and full. It works out. It's just nice.
Yeah.
Anyways, not to get into it. Like I said, we can go into this forever. The main thing is, switching between one to another. What is your goal? What are you trying to do? Chances are you could do anything with a Canon that you'll do with a Nikon. Anything with a Nikon you could do with a Canon. It's just simply a tool. I wouldn't get too caught up in it. If there's something specific that one manufacturer has over another that you need to make money,
right,
and you're doing this professionally, I'd say, okay, run in that direction.
Yeah.
But if not, it really, honestly doesn't matter.
It doesn't
I wish
make
I could
a
say it does.
Yeah, it doesn't
matter. Make a lot of difference.
I mean, everybody's making good quality cameras now. I mean, you can get a great Sony. You can get a really good Pentax. I mean, there's lots of other good bodies out there besides Canon and Nikon. And, honestly,
so D800 on the Canon side, you'd be getting a Mark II or a Mark III,
right? 5D.
Yep. They're very similar in between the two, and the price is almost identical. Also,
yep.
You're not. So, if you have high end Canon glass, maybe you want to look at a Mark II or a Mark III. If you just want to get out of Canon completely. Then on the Nikon side, the D800 for a full frame that's not, let's say up there in price, extremely expensive. That's in the same range as in Mark II or Mark III.
Right.
That's a perfect camera right there. I love that camera anyways. That's a great.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anyways, hope that helps a little bit. It's a little vague. I wish, there's really no true answer.
No.
But hopefully some of that information helps you out a little bit.
That's right.
So our next topic that we've been talking about this for quite some time, but then we're going to get a little bit more detailed on, we always say that, you need to back up your stuff, right? And you need it backed up in 3 places. You want it, local to you, somewhere close by, and then, somewhere in a distance. And I think today we're going to kind of look at the distance, right?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we talk about backing up your computers all the time, doing it locally in the studio, and also about off-site backup. So just the other day, I got an email from Amazon Web Services because I use their S3 service for my offline backups. And they were talking about how they just lowered their prices for GET requests and all this stuff, and which really doesn't matter to most people. That's more for developers who are using their computing platforms, not just their storage platforms.
Right.
But that kind of sparked me to take another look at what Amazon is actually offering and what is available to you guys as a backup solution.
Right. And how does it pertain to photographers? And, where do we go with it? Now I tell you what, when you showed me this article, I was looking through some of it, and what is amazing to me is how freaking cheap per gig Amazon is these days.
Yeah.
It is cheap.
Yeah. Well, that's it. I mean, the Amazon charges 9.5 cents for your per gigabyte per month. Okay,
per gigabyte.
Per gigabyte.
Now, I mean, just think about that, guys. 10 cents.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, that's
10 cents per gig.
Yeah, that's not much. And then you go past that. That's up to your first terabyte. When you go past 49 terabytes, it drops to 8 cents per gig per month. I mean, that is a lot of data. I don't think very many people will get to that range. Data transfer in is free. So getting it from your computer over the internet to their data centers onto their drives is free. Retrieving it, there is a fee, and the first 1 gigabyte per month is free, and up to 10 terabytes per month is 12 cents per gigabyte. So again, this is for mission critical backup. This is for your computer just blew up, your on-site backups just blew up, and you need to get your stuff back up and running. So you're going to pay money to get it, but at least it's there.
12 cents per gig. I mean, that's really, really pretty cheap.
It is.
You know, all right. So, you know, you look at this, and if you think about how they're doing it, it's free to send to them, but you're gonna have to pay to download from them.
Right.
See, the bottleneck with
That's
all
how
of
they
these,
get you.
exactly. See, the bottleneck with, and they know it, right? The bottleneck is always been our upstream.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you're on DSL or on cable, on whatever. They're always limiting your upstream.
Yep.
Either limiting it by, actually putting a cap on it, whereas you can only do so much per month, or limiting it by throttling it to X number of kilobytes per second. And that is a major, major issue when you're talking about backing up offline. Now, like Dropbox and a lot of the other ones, you set it up and you forget it, and it just sits there and it constantly is uploading, whenever the computer is idle or whatever. I mean, this is good and everything, but if you have a lot of images that you're trying to back up, it might take weeks to back them up.
Absolutely it will. And that really was the dilemma that I was facing here. I have my client folders and files and everything that I have to back up. If I lose this stuff, if their websites go down, it's my ass. I mean, it's my responsibility to ensure that their sites are being properly protected. So I found a solution. It's called ARQ, A-R-Q, online backup software, and the company is Haystack Software. Now, this is written for the Mac, but what it does is it provides background running incremental backups of whatever files and folders, hard drives, whatever you tell it to back up.
Right.
So yes, you're right. Our networks are slow on the up speed, but this running this type of software, I mean, if you've got gigs and gigs and gigs and gigs of photos that you need to send up there, it's going to take a really long time to get it there. Right. But if it's running in the background, if maybe it's running on a second computer, a file server computer, something that is used not as a primary workstation, just let it run. Let it do its thing, let it get it up there in the background. Then once all your files are there, after you come back and you do a shoot, you load that card in, you drop them into Lightroom or Aperture, you get your library set up, it gets onto your server, and then that server now is being backed up using this software online, over to Amazon. It's going to still take some time, but now it's an incremental backup.
Right. Now,
so it's not going to take that long.
So from my side, looking at this as the studio owner that I think I said last week or the week before, we're averaging anywhere from about 250,000 images per year, a little bit higher, sometimes, 300,000. But anyways, it's a lot of images. And we obviously everything's raw. Most of the stuff is all full frame. So you're looking at anywhere from 20 to 30 meg, per image. So you could just do the math on that. It's a ton. So when you do any of this offsite backup, you really kind of need to be thoughtful on what you're actually backing up. What is necessary? Now, the local backup where you have something where you have, let's say, multiple drives, one that stays in the studio, one that you get, that gets brought home, let's say. Let's say we do a lot of these G-RAIDs where, you have like 4 terabytes, and we have basically double of those. We have two of everything. One leaves, one stays. If there's a fire, you have another one off site.
Right.
The reason we do that is because 4 terabytes is a lot of data, and it's enough to be working on, let's say, a year's worth of work, or pretty close. And in that case, we will only, if there's some kind of major catastrophe that happens, we can actually be back up and running the same day.
Yes.
Whereas to download, 4 terabytes is just not going to happen in any type of short order. Not that you need 4 terabytes, you can pick and choose on what you download, but the bottom line is we need to be able to come, especially like commercial shoots, you're doing like an ad campaign or a project or something that's just mission critical. We're talking about timing. If you get off time, you're done. Anyways, regardless, you need to be very thoughtful on what you're backing up, due to the amount of, bandwidth that we have to send to these locations. So, but I think, Amazon is a great solution because they're going to be around for the long haul. Number one, their servers are like second to none. Everyone uses S3 out there. Major, huge corporations use S3. And now they also have that Amazon Glacier thing, right?
Yeah, they do. And it's very cheap. It's 1
really cheap.
cent per gigabyte per
That's
month.
right. 1 cent per
1
gigabyte.
penny per gig. So the problem with Amazon Glacier is it's slow. It's very slow.
It's for the long
Glacier.
term. Right. It is glacier.
It's a
glacial.
slow moving mass. Yeah. It takes a while to get your data there, and it takes a long time to get it down. Yeah. But the files that are a couple years old, maybe that's what you put on Glacier, and you save that money per month. Because again, the data in is free. Getting it down is what you pay for. But again, Amazon is your last resort. And if your last resort means you have to wait hours or even days to get your data down, then that's what you have to do. But at least you can get it.
Right.
But the beauty is that Arc software will back up to both places, S3 and Glacier. So as you were saying, Joe, be selective on what you back up online. Maybe you don't put your raw files online because of the size. Exactly. Maybe you keep them locally on that second drive that comes home with you at night. And maybe you only put, high res JPEGs.
Prioritize. That's what we do. We do different folders, different locations.
Right.
Prioritize it based on mission critical to, medium to, do like a green, yellow, and red state. The red stuff that's mission critical. The green stuff that can be, whenever that could be the glacial pace stuff. So, just prioritize the images and get them up. But the local stuff is always the best. The stuff in the cloud, it's good to have. It's good to have. You need the,
and it doesn't cost that much to have it.
Right.
Yep.
Exactly. Well, I tell you what, before we go any further, right? Let's go ahead and take a quick break and hear from a couple of our sponsors.
Are you frustrated with slightly out of focus images when you know your autofocus spot was dead on? It's simply not your fault. From manufacturer to manufacturer and even lens copy to lens copy, there are slight variances to the exact spot where light is being focused onto the sensor. Finally, there's a product that allows you to compensate for those variances and make sharper images immediately. Focus Pyramid, the autofocus lens calibration tool, is an absolute must for every photographer. If you want to make the sharpest images possible, then you need to take control over your camera's focusing system. With the Focus Pyramid, you can calibrate all of your lenses on your lunch break. The Focus Pyramid makes lens calibration quick and easy at an affordable price. So give your lenses a new lease on life and take your photography to the next level. Head over to focuspyramid.com/DPC and get an additional 10% off just for being a show listener. From phones, tablets, laptops, and PCs, these days photographers use multiple internet-connected devices.
Have you ever wished you could view your Lightroom images, folders, collections, and metadata from any of these devices? Now you can.
Mosaic Storage Systems has created Mosaic View, an application that gives you access to your images without exporting or using a publishing service.
Mosaic also offers Mosaic Archive, which directly integrates with Lightroom as a powerful cloud backup solution.
Mosaic gives photographers access to all of their images from anywhere on virtually any device.
Try Mosaic View today for free and access 2,000 of your most recent images.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, Mosaic is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans.
Go to mosaicarchive.com and use coupon code DPCafe at checkout.
Mosaic. Lightroom, anywhere, any device, secure, backed up. As photographers, we're always trying to increase sales and profits after every event.
We shoot an event and have hundreds or even thousands of images that just sit on our hard drives.
Perhaps a better workflow would increase sales by getting those valuable images in front of the client.
That's where ShootProof comes in. At shootproof.com, you can have an online gallery for all of your clients' proofing needs.
ShootProof helps increase profits while building your brand and securing your photos without charging commission fees on sales.
ShootProof galleries display your photos beautifully while helping to streamline your workflow and automate more of your business through their intuitive studio control panel.
Once approved, photos can be directly fulfilled through ShootProof's various professional lab partners or fulfilled by you.
All ShootProof plans have the same feature set. You simply choose the number of client photos stored, decide what products to sell, and the price.
Try ShootProof today by taking advantage of their free 30-day trial offer.
As a Digital Photography Cafe viewer, ShootProof is offering a 20% discount off any of their premium plans by using promo code DPC20 at checkout.
ShootProof. Upload, share, sell, print.
So, all right, guys, we are back. Kind of moving on with the show a little bit. I'm constantly wandering the web for stuff and interesting things. And one of the guys that we follow on a regular basis is Chase, right? Chase Jarvis.
Yes.
Love him.
Love Chase.
He's been doing this forever. He's out there in the photography community for a long time, from show to a lot of YouTube things that really got him popular. It's just he's a pretty good guy as far as I can tell. Over the years of kind of following what he does and what's going on over there. So he wrote an article that was very interesting, and it kind of made me think a little bit. And it's kind of it really makes sense. And he was kind of talking about how emulsion. Years ago when we used to shoot film, we would actually select the film based on the project, the project,
right,
based on the look that we're trying to get, based on the grain pattern that we needed for that specific project, or the color intensity. That's why, you'd use, Kodak Portra for doing what? Portraits,
right.
You'd use Tri-X, you'd use, all kinds of different, film and they all would work differently. Some of them you could push 3 stops in one direction. Some you can pull 2 stops in another direction. If you don't know what push-pull is, just think about, changing your ISO, stepping up your ISO, shooting 400 film at 3200. Let's say anyways, we're not a film type of show here, but anyways, no. And he was talking about this, and it's a very interesting idea, and it's true. The emulsion of yesterday is very similar to the sensor of today. The sensors that we're seeing today are not so, let's say, similar. They are very specific, and they look different from camera to camera to camera, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the sensors the different types of sensors are giving you a different look, really. I mean, the only 2 sensors, 3, 4 sensors, I guess, that I have experience with would be full frame, Canon,
right,
APS-C crop, right, Canon, iPhone, mobile phones, and then, of course, point and shoot style sensors.
Right.
And when you look at the images created from all of them, take the glass aside and all of that, but the sensors all have a different feel to them. There's no doubt, from a professional standpoint, shooting the 5D Mark II for my product photography work, and then shooting my Rebel, let's say, for product photography work, which is a great camera. There is definitely a difference in the quality of the image,
exactly,
the look of the image.
Exactly. That, so that's exactly why magazines, for example, like Martha Stewart and some of the high-end magazines where you look at the pictures in there, you're like, oh my God, these things are just It's just amazing.
Just beautiful. Yeah.
Most of those magazines, or a lot, like Martha Stewart, I know last year before when I was researching this, they're still using medium format film.
Wow.
And the reason, and then scanning it in, of course, the reason is because the look, there's just something about it. You cannot get that. And yes, exactly. I mean, I have, for me, I've used from medium format film to medium format Hassies, Hasselblads for doing, fashion photography, to full,
the digital
to full frame, all different sorts of full frame, to crops like the 70s and all the rest of these things, to all kinds of others. And they all definitely have a different look. Now, as far as the sensors go themselves, you have like CMOS sensors. You have the Foveon sensor, which is a very interesting sensor, which just approaches recording light completely different. So CMOS to Foveon, completely different. And in so doing, you end up with a completely different look. The picture might be exact, but then when you get in there and you look at it, color saturation, color integrity, a lot of different aspects change based on that sensor. Then you have also proprietary sensors, like I think it was Fuji came up with one where they just completely pulled out the the low pass filter, I think.
The low pass filter, yeah. And all these mirrorless cameras are starting to kind of follow that same path and removing these low pass filters, because you are able to get better image quality by doing so.
And of course, then you have the new one where you have, I think it's the monochrome M, right? I think that's a sensor that's designed to only capture black and white images. So sensors are starting to become like film, or film-like, I guess I would say. And that's very, very interesting. There's more and more proprietary sensors that I think are going to be coming down the pike, which is cool. I mean, to me, that's great. The whole megapixel thing, it's not dead yet. I mean, more megapixels is still good. I mean, you take a medium format film picture, you scan in that film, the amount of data that you're going to get just exceeds even a Hasselblad medium format by probably 20-30%.
Those scanners, because again, coming from the print industry and using high end drum scanners, as opposed, and then also, when the high end professional flatbed scanners started coming into play as well, the resolution that you can get out of film by scanning it in is absolutely amazing. I mean, it's incredible. Yeah,
it's a ton, absolutely a ton. And that's why, like we were saying, that's why Martha Stewart and some of the bigger magazines where the image is so important, still use it, But anyways, kind of, looking at it, it's fun to kind of talk about. But if you're buying a camera, you might nowadays look at, for the longest time, you would look at, let's say you're buying a DSLR. You say, okay, which one should I buy? You'll have that one guy that says, the camera that I want to buy is only the camera that comes in brown. And so that guy, obviously, that's actually a friend of mine. But anyways, that guy really doesn't matter, let's say the quality. He wants to make sure it's a good camera, but he wants to make sure it's brown. That guy, it really doesn't make too much of a difference. But, if you're out there buying a camera and you want to do it for like pro-am work, or, you're an amateur and you might want to go pro sometime, and you're looking at it, looking at these cameras, the first camera you buy is very important, because we always say it has to do with the glass. And once you're invested in the glass, you kind of want to stay with that manufacturer. Looking at sensor now might be a tertiary kind of type thing. Whereas, now it's like when you're looking at a camera, if you're looking for a DSLR, you're going to either look at a crop sensor or a full frame. That's going to be a major decision. Nowadays, you're also looking at, a lot of people now are looking at, does the camera allow you to do micro focus adjustments? Because you don't want to send your camera in all the time. You want to be able to adjust the focus based on each specific lens you buy. That's very important now too. Now we can also say, okay, now which sensor is it using? Is it using Foveon? Is it using a CMOS sensor? Is it using a proprietary CMOS sensor? What kind of sensor is it using?
Because there's a certain look I want to go for in my style.
Exactly. So,
you know what? But given that too, given these different sensors, for those of us who like the technology and who like equipment and everything, it does kind of give you a reason to buy more
Yes.
toys. I mean, if you are looking to experiment and you've got an extra $8,000 to drop, one of those Leica monochromes would be a lot of fun to
That is
play
like
with,
my dream, Trev. Okay, that is my dream camera. I mean, I would like
be so
to
cool.
get my hands on that monochrome, the M. That I'm a black and white. I do a ton of black and white work. I see in black and white. I'm not colorblind, but that's just the way I look at photographs. I wrote an article based on that one year, I don't know, 3-4 years back or something, that, I see shapes and forms and I see darks and lights. I don't necessarily see all the colors. It helps me to see shapes and getting, a good image put together before the mess of color comes in. But anyways, I love black and white. And matter of fact, all of my fine artwork that I show at the galleries is all black and white stuff. So to be able to get that camera, that Leica M, I would love that camera. So Leica's listening, please, I would love to grab one of those. Send one in. We'll do a nice review on it. I would love to shoot that for, maybe a week or so and see what we get out of it. That would be, for me, that would be huge.
Sure. Yeah. Looks like a fun camera. Yeah. I mean, that's it. I mean, you guys, you can go nuts buying equipment. You can worry about, every little technical aspect of it, the pixels, the resolution, and are you going to be, zooming in and looking at each little pixel and its quality and stuff. Everything is going to be a little bit different. And honestly, at the end of the day, as long as you're producing quality artwork that is meeting your goals, and it's doing it for you, it's making the art that you're creating, worthwhile to you and to your client. Yeah, that's really all that matters. Everything is just
so you have those two guys, the two people. You have the one that says just I want the camera that's in brown, and then you have I call them the pixel peepers that. They before they buy a camera, they're in there researching DP reviews, and they're looking at every single image and trying to see which one has less noise and which one does better this and that. And they're in there once they get their camera and they're pixel peeping every pixel. It's like, oh, why is this a little bit? It's very hard, very difficult to be creative when you're being technical. That takes a certain person, and there is people like that are very technically oriented, technically inclined, and they can produce fantastic art. The rest of us produce art and not necessarily do it in a technical way. They just feel. They feel this looks good or this works. Some of the best images that I've seen out there that I just enjoy, that I would actually have and purchase and hang on my wall, are not necessarily the best images. When I look at them, I can see a lot of problems with them, but it's a mood, it's a feeling, it's a portion of life, it's a period of time, it's a certain look from a child, it's a location that is ever changing, that will never be the same again, that you captured. It's something like that just makes it an unbelievably stellar image that doesn't matter on those pixels. It doesn't matter the resolution. So it's something to think about. Don't necessarily be that pixel peeper. You really need to make sure, like you were saying, Trev, get the camera that meets the job that you're trying to do. And as long as it meets that job, that's enough. You don't need to go past that.
That's right. You need a tool to perform your work. And you want to make sure that you have a tool that's going to do the job. It's going to give you the best results technically that you can get for what it is you're doing. And you know what? The beauty with the bodies is they are ever changing. And 3 years from now, if the need arises, you can go and buy yourself a new body. Add it to your arsenal. You have another tool that may have another feature you need. Or maybe you look at a different style camera, for capturing certain types of looks or what have you. So, and that's it. It's all tools for us to create our art. So I agree. Don't sweat it. Don't go crazy. People will research cameras and lenses and stuff for years and never pull the trigger.
They won't make the plunge. Yeah. It's like, don't sweat the small stuff. Like years ago, we would actually, spend time capturing every image because it was expensive. You had developing time, And not just that it was expensive, you'd had the time that it took to develop and actually print.
Yeah.
So you really, yesterday we would shoot a roll. Today people be shooting, 300 pictures.
Card of
The whole
100,
idea of, spray and pray for the best. That's just very, very, that is what's happening today. And, if you guys want a challenge, I tell you what, if you've done an event in the past and let's say you looked at the number of shots you did and you took 500 images, I challenge you to the next event that's similar to that one, you shoot 250 images. And I guarantee you, you will have as good work, maybe even better work, because in your mind, you say, I am only going to shoot X, and you're not going to be just shooting and hoping for the best. You're actually thinking. You're really thinking
about the shot. Yeah.
Very, very important. And you'll probably end up with better pictures and less wear and tear on the gear and less time after the fact in Lightroom or Aperture trying to go through all of this mess of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of images only to pull 40, let's say.
I agree.
So it's a challenge for you guys. I think you will find that'll help in the long run.
I think so. That's a great idea. All right, man. We got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. We've been running long the last couple of weeks, so we want to keep this one a little bit shorter.
We should say sorry for the last 2 or 3 weeks. Normally we try to keep the show between 30 and 40 minutes. We've been doing like 45 and 50 plus minutes. Yeah. And we apologize. We're gonna kind of tone it down. I know we could talk forever, but we're gonna try to keep it in line with that.
That's right. So, Joe, if our listeners and viewers want to connect with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
Find me on Twitter, and that's Joseph Christina without an H. Christina without an H.
Yes, and you can connect with me on Twitter. It's at Trevor Current.
Awesome. All right, so we are out of here once again. You can get all of this week's episode's show notes by going to digitalphotographycafe.com/102. And don't forget, if you enjoy the show, please give us a 5-star review in iTunes. Help spread the word through Twitter. And now you can give us a call through our new comment line by visiting digitalphotographycafe.com/love. So keep your questions and comments coming, and we'll see you next week.
You've been watching the Digital Photography Cafe show with Trevor Current and Joseph Christina. Be sure to subscribe to the show for free in iTunes or through RSS. You can also listen on Stitcher and TuneIn Radio and watch in HD on TiVo. Visit digitalphotographycafe.com for show notes and to connect with your hosts.